Whitehall Academy, it's Miss Cooper here. I thought I would bring you today another episode of The Writing Well, and this time I'm going to take a picture from Pobble 365, and right at the bottom of the screen there are normally some 6 sentences for you to fix. And some of you might find this a bit tricky because it's quite hard to just make a sentence better. So for each one we're going to have a key thing, a key way we are going to improve it. So for the first sentence, we're adding an expanded noun phrase. For the second sentence, we are going to add a simile. And for the third sentence, we are going to add a coordinating conjunction. Let's get started. Hello! So this is our picture for today. And we have got a wolf. He is in some clothes. It looks a bit like a suit that people would wear to business. And he is behind a tree, which looks like it is in the woods. And if you look here, that looks like the moon, which tells us it is nighttime. So that's all the things we know just from the picture. Now, if we come down here, I've got my sentences that I am going to fix or make better. So this first one, the wolf had big eyes and big teeth. The wolf had big eyes and big teeth. Now, with an expanded noun phrase, as Mrs. Brown told you in her other video, what we do is we describe the nouns. So first step to do an expanded noun phrase is you have to find the nouns. Now, the nouns are things, so objects, people or animals, or places. So, can we find any of those? So we've got the wolf, who is our character, and then his eyes and his teeth. So 3 nouns we could describe, but I'm going to focus on the wolf, as even though big isn't a very good adjective, the eyes and teeth have already been described. So if I move over to here, starting my sentence, same as it does there, I'm going to start with the. Notice my capital T because it is the start of a sentence. So I now need to think of words that could describe my wolf up here in the picture. So, I'm going to give you a few seconds. Pause the video here if you want to write down your ideas. Let's describe the wolf. Okay, unpausing now. So, welcome back. The wolf, how might we describe him? You might have come up with fierce. You might think he's scared because he looks a bit frightened in the picture. You might know from the story Red Riding Hood that the wolf might be hungry and things like that. So, I am going to come up with the fierce. I'm going to do that because it is quite a tricky spelling. So F, see if you can predict the letters that's going to come next. I-E-R-C-E. The fierce, I'm going to do more than one adjective because I'm going to push myself. So the fierce, comma, because I'm doing a list. The fierce, hungry. The fierce, hungry, and because it's my final item in the list, so fierce, hungry, and desperate, because he's desperate, he really, really wants some food. The fierce, hungry, and desperate wolf has. Now, big's a bit rubbish, as I said, so we could say huge, which is a synonym for big, a word that means the same thing, had huge eyes and gigantic, another synonym for big, teeth. Am I finished? Those of you who I've taught will be shouting at the screen right now saying, no, Miss Cooper, there's something you're missing. And you'd be right, I am missing my full stop at the end to show I am finished. So we've gone from the wolf had big eyes and big teeth, which is all right, but not brilliant, to the fierce, hungry and desperate wolf has huge eyes and gigantic teeth, which is definitely better. Now we come down here to our second sentence. He had fur and wore a suit. And we are going to add a simile to that, which means we are comparing to something else. We are showing similarities to something else to get our imagination really going. So what I'm going to compare to something else is his fur. Now, fur, when we tend to think about it, is rough. It might be really rough fur that's really horrible and hard to touch. It might be really silky fur that's really smooth and lovely. It might be really thick fur that you get on sort of bears and things like that to keep themselves really warm. Because it's a wolf, though, and we think of wolves, they might be a little bit mean, I'm going to say that he had really wiry fur or really rough fur. So, he, notice my capital H at the start, had fur. So he had fur, exactly the same. Now, I'm going to compare it to something else. So if I'm saying it's rough, I need to think of other things that are rough as well to really get that image in my head. So pause the video here and give yourselves time to think. Unpausing. So he had fur as rough as, and I came up with sandpaper. So he had fur as rough as sandpaper. And I can really imagine this wolf now and how horrible his fur would be to touch. So that's good. And wore a suit. If you wanted to be even better, you could describe the suit. But I'm going to finish there. Again, can't forget. My old classes won't let me forget. I need a full stop at the end. Last one here. He was hiding behind a tree, and we are adding a coordinating conjunction to this one. So remind ourselves of our coordinating conjunctions. We have for and nor, but, or, yet, which is like a fancy but, and so. For this sentence, so if he's hiding behind a tree, there must be a reason he is hiding behind the tree. Because it'd be a bit silly of the wolf over here to be hiding behind a tree for no reason. So, I am going to use so to explain a bit why he's hiding behind the tree, to give a reason, give a justification for that. So, the first bit, this bit here is staying exactly the same because this is my starting main clause. So, he was hiding. No excuses for spellings because they're all in that sentence. Behind a tree. So, now why might he be hiding behind the tree? You need a reason that would make the wolf want to hide behind a tree. Have a think, pause the video and have a think to yourselves. Okay, back. He was hiding behind the tree, behind a tree, so, and my reason, I'm going to go for a bit of inspiration from my reading, like I always like to do, and go for Little Red Riding Hood. and I'm going to say he was hiding behind a tree. So the little girl could not see him. And full stop at the end. Perfect. So my original sentence was he was hiding behind a tree, and I've made it better by adding my coordinating conjunction and changing it to he was hiding behind a tree so the little girl could not see him. Fantastic. Now, I hope you've had a go at those 3 sentences and improving them yourselves. As a bit of an extra challenge, I have 1, 2, 3 sentence starters for you to finish off the sentence. So these are 3 fronted adverbials that describe how the wolf is going to do something next, or why he is going to do something next. So first one, filled with a desperate hunger, and you're then going to say what the wolf did. Unable to control his appetite, what's he going to do? What's he going to plan to do? And with his heart pounding with fear and excitement, what's he going to do with that happening whilst that is going on? So these are fronted adverbials, which means a comma goes at the end. You'll do the rest of your sentence, and then you can't forget a full stop at the end. I hope you get lots of work done doing this, and I hope it helps you with future Pobble 365s. Bye, Whitehall Academy.